and 200,000 access information through community meetings. 47 access information using internet, and 400,000 access information using community announcer, and 277 access information using other forms of communication. So, Madam Speaker, 55.2% of our households access information using radio, and 7.3% access information using television. And another area of interest is 7.2% of our households access information using a telephone, meaning that if education is targeting our children, then we can assume that 55, either a household has a radio, or they can use their telephone to access a radio, or they can use television, which comes to almost 60-something percent, 68% of a household using these types of media. So, Madam Speaker, I have gone ahead to distribute, and to be of interest to you, honorable members, to know how your constituency is accessing information, not only for this exercise of COVID, but even for other activities that will come in the future, so that when you are communicating with your constituency, you know which form, which medium you should use. So all the constituencies have been put on your iPad. You can check your constituents and know how your constituents access information. Madam Speaker, I don't know if there are any questions. We think that if the Minister of Education can use this, or Minister of ICT, then we'll be able to really see how best we can target different households across the country using different media. But in terms of in terms of ownership, we see that 60% of our households own a radio, 14% own a television, 3.8% own a computer, and 65% own mobile phones. So this information has been shared with ICT and will be shared with education, so that we can see how best we can target different households using different channels, either radio or a telephone or a television. That's how the distribution is, and this is according to the census of 2014 and projected. It was done through a scientific method, and this is the institution that all of us depend on when it comes to data. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, I think this is very good information. First, about the 14 broadcasting regions, you can check where your area falls, and also check which ones are being used for the education exams, so that you see whether the children are actually receiving, and also the timing of the lessons. Yes. Okay, Seba Gara, Okomakech, Gutamoy, one minute each. Yes. One minute each. Then I come this side.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our major concern is about the education media. Madam Speaker, given the fact that we are still under the lockdown, and according to the Minister of Education and UNEP, they are saturating these materials for the purposes of our learners to continue as if they're in school. And that will be the basis for UNEP exams, Madam Speaker. So if we are talking about 68% who access these programs, what will be the fate of the other percentage? And the exams are going to be national. I think, Madam Speaker, that's where our major emphasis must be, because if they are setting national exams and there is a great percentage, even if it is less than 30, who cannot access, and yet when the exams are going to be set, they are going to be national, how are we going to navigate that situation, Madam Speaker?
Honorable Komakech, 1 minute. Gutamoi, then I come this side.
Madam Speaker, I rise to add on emerging issues that contains the media. While we appreciate all efforts that government is doing, Madam Speaker, when digital migration was accomplished, UCC was directed to ensure that implementation of all TV channels and radios are done. But to our amazement, Madam Speaker, all Ugandans are paying free-to-air channels. And yet, they are supposed to be accessed for free by all Ugandans. And to date, if you open any channels, whether NTV, UBC, if you have not paid through DSTV or MultiChoice, you cannot access. And yet, under the broadcasting licenses, all these local channels are supposed to be airing for free. Madam Speaker, we seek for clarification from the Minister of ICT and Finance. Why is this irregularity? And yet, these kids, however small the percentage is, at least we should be benefiting from these free-to-air channels. Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I hope the Minister will be able to answer. Honorable Gutamoi, then Honorable Mbabazi, Waduswaka, Ilukor. Okay, Macho. 1 minute, by the way. 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker in the House, my constituency is not benefiting from this at all. Because when on-learning system has been encouraged in this country, and then when we endeavor to say, why can't this be stayed until further notice? I think this has not been taken seriously. Now, this percentage, the 32%, I think there are many in the rural communities. And indeed, this is not a test, Madam Speaker, between the poor of the poorest of the poor, and then the richest of the rich. So, totally, I agree that the poor are being left behind. When parents paid school fees for their children in government schools, we were happy. Nothing was going to interfere, but now the COVID-19 has come in. Then here is a situation whereby now the children of who are in the private schools, institutions, nothing has been catered for them. Are they Ugandans, or the parents are Ugandans and citizens?
Okay, Honorable Mbabazi. Mbabazi, then Waduswaka, Ilukor, about Macho.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for the information he has given us. Madam Speaker, my problem or my issue is on the coverage. In Kagadi district, we have 3 radio stations, but none of them was picked. I tried to ask the Minister of ICT. She told me to consult the Minister of Education, that she doesn't do the selection. In this case, 80% of the people, of the students in Kagadi, do not get the coverage, or they are not covered by the radio that was picked. The radio that was picked is from Chibale, which is for Honorable Minister Kasaija, and the assumption was that it is going to cover the entire greater Chibale. So, Madam Speaker, there is a very big problem on the coverage, the criteria that was used to select these radios. You are leaving out most of these people, and as the Kagadi district, we are not benefiting. It is only the owners of the radios that are giving out
No, honor members, please. One minute, please. 1 minute. Honorable Wadusaka, 1 minute. Ilukor, 1 minute. Abbott, 1 minute. Macho, 1 minute. Mugeni, 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honourable Minister, as a person from Ministry of Finance and Statistics, when we get statistics, we should interpret them, not a matter of getting from technical people and we present. Madam Speaker, when we look, why we are here as Parliament is that Ministry wants to do e-learning. But when you look at the radio and the TV, because you cannot educate on phone, even if you say phone, 55% plus 7.3 plus 7.2. When you get average, Honourable Minister, you get 23.9%. You get average, please. So it means, Madam Speaker, only 23% of the people in this country will access the information. So this one is targeted for only Kampala. Honourable Minister, add, members are here on access to information. Radio, 55.2.
No, look on. 1 minute. About 1 minute. Macho, 1 minute. Unamugeni, 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, to me, the Minister has given us the statistics of the people who own those media, the radio, the telephones, and the TV. But the Minister has not gone ahead to find out the regular usage of those items. In our villages, radios are either used for announcements or a special program, and they are switched off because of sales. Telephones have problems because of charging. So capitalizing on the coverage of 60% or so without considering how these gadgets are regularly used will be misleading and therefore denying our communities the learning facilities that they are trying to convey through those media. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honourable Abbott, 1 minute. Then Macho, 1 minute. Emilio Mugeni, 1 minute.
Madam Chair, I also want to thank the Minister, but my concern is about the e-learning that has been said. I come from Namaingo district, and Namaingo, the bigger part is within the waters, and there are so many schools. Now this coverage, when you go to the islands, is non-existent. You go to places like Hama, they only get radio stations from Kenya. So when we are saying we are going to assess our learners using the knowledge they have got from either TVs or radio and so many others, I think we are not very careful about this country. We should make sure that what we are doing here will benefit each and every person, even those who are within the islands. We are now talking about radios and so forth. You are seeing the floods and the water levels. People are nowhere. So how will they learn when they are struggling? How are they going to look at the TVs when...
Honourable Macho, and then Mugeni. Then finally the cattle keepers. We hear from Basfaki.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for his submission. Right Honourable Speaker and my colleagues, we are getting a challenge in Busia district, and I think the country at large, that the media studying has left out the early childhood education, the nursery. Moreover, this is the foundation for our children, because when a tree is not taken care of well during the nursery time, it cannot grow straight. I therefore want guidance from the Minister of Education. How have you catered for the early childhood education? Secondly, we are having a challenge that many people requested for licenses to operate radios, but government refused to license them. Me, I believe that this is the right time that the government should license these radio stations so that Ugandans have access.
Honourable Mugeni and then Bafaki. Now, honourable members, when the Minister brought the paper, we had a debate on that. What we ask for is to give us a breakdown of the radio's coverage in the country so that we could understand whether the children actually are accessing this. Otherwise, we had a debate on this. So that's why we just want me to clarify.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Uganda has a national broadcaster, which I believe it would be the media to reach the very poor person in our villages. I'd like to know from the Minister what exactly happened to UBC. Because by being a national broadcaster, and it has been given money by Parliament, but it doesn't reach so many places in this country. What is the problem? And secondly, I would like to know which particular radios per region have been paid airtime to broadcast these programs. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Wafaki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The clarification I want to seek from the Minister is how many families have receivers? They could be so and so, the 68% you talked about, but how many individual families have a radio in a home? Because when I give you an example of my home, the only radio which is there belongs to my old mother. And a child of P7 cannot access it. It is always in the bedroom. Always in the bedroom. So how many families have receivers and they are going to access the radio to listen to the information?
Thank you. Honourable members, recently I received a letter from a young boy in Kampala who wrote to me to tell me that he's a candidate of PLE and is trying to follow the training, but he cannot get access to his grandmother's radio. So he wrote to me and said, can you buy me a radio of 30,000 so that I can study? So you can see how serious the situation is. Now, maybe the minister can give us final response, the Minister of Education, Finance and then Education, and we go to other things.
So, Madam Speaker and colleagues, the purpose of this information was to show Parliament and the country the strategy in the circumstances Ministry of Education used it to try as much as possible to reach our children. We can now confirm that actually 68%, rather 55% of our households can have access to information through radio. So it's an obligation for all of us to encourage people to help one another in these difficult times. And as members of Parliament, that's why we can play a role. Personally, I've gone on the radio to say that if you have a radio in your home, do not hide it from a child who is supposed to study. Yeah, if they don't, then that will be a problem. But that's the message we can give as leaders. Now, finally, Honorable Warswag said that the average percentage of access to information is 23. That's not true. The statistics are actually here. But also I wanted to let you know that ownership of radio per household is very, very important. Because we are broken down, all these regions are not, and there are not many, I can go through them. In Kampala, 60% of the households own a radio. In Uganda, 68% own a radio. Bukedi, Busoga, 59.7% own a radio. Bukedi, 49.5% own a radio. Eragon, 57.1% own a radio. Teso, 53.1% own a radio. Karamoja, 47.7% own a radio. Lango, 44.0% own a radio. Acholi, 56.8% own a radio. West Nile 14.5 own a radio. Bunyoro 64.1 own a radio. Toro 69.7 own a radio. Ankole 62.5 own a radio. Chigezi 70.6 own a radio. Colleagues, this is information from your institution, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. It's done scientifically. You either accept a scientific method of doing work or not, but this is the information we have, and this is the only thing we can have. So based on this information, I think it was proper and right that in the circumstance, the education said, well, what can we do in the circumstance? How can we reach these people? And I now yield the floor to my colleague, the Honorable Minister, to tell us about the strategy.
Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank Honorable Bahati for these statistics. Actually, when we are designing this program, we got that statistics and it guided us in developing the program where our children would be helped to revise during the holidays. That's where we realize that not every Ugandan has access to a radio, not every Ugandan. Some, but not many others. That's why we agreed that we would be reaching our learners, would be able to help our learners revise through the radio, through the television, but for those that will not be able to access, to be accessed using the radio, we came up with private, self-study written materials, which were, of course, as I said the other day, we didn't have enough money to print for each and every learner. But now what the ministry is doing, we have realized that even those who have access to radio, even those who have access to televisions, need those printed study materials. We are now getting more money, and more materials will be printed and sent to each and every learner wherever they are. Madam Speaker, that's our plan. These materials we have already started sending them to the villages. We send them to the district. The district has been kind enough, using the COVID money they got, to send them over to the LOC1 chairperson, who has the responsibility to pass them over to the children. Madam Speaker, somebody wanted to know about what plan do we have for the early childhood.
No, Honourable Minister, I think there has not been access to that money. No local government has accessed that money because of the confusion in the guidelines. Pardon? Yes? I'm saying that that money has not been accessed by the local government because of the conflicting guidelines between finance and local government.
Yes, Madam, I'm aware, as the Minister of Finance clarified, but the district have got a way of passing information and these materials to their districts.
Oh.
Quite a number, of course, Madam Speaker, quite a number of districts have already sent these materials to the sub-counties, up to the chairperson.
Honour Minister, I was in Kamuli a fortnight ago. They do not have capacity to multiply the papers and take them. Out of 18,000 students, secondary students in Kamuli, you sent only 2,700 packs. So the local government must find money to copy for the other 16,000. So,
Right Honourable Speaker, they do not need to photocopy, they don't even to reprint. We are preparing enough material for each and every learner. We have the statistics. Of course, it will take some time because we didn't have the money at the beginning, Madam Speaker.
No. Clarification, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for giving way. In Ngora, for example, a place called Agole in Omito Barish, and Kochotwa in Kobin, Sabu County. Those are the two examples I want to give you now. Madam Speaker, those, the LOC1 chairman of those places, as we talk now, they received only and only one set for just one subject. Out of the so many. And as we talk now, Madam Speaker, yesterday there was a clan meeting to discuss how best to improve on education, forgetting about what we are talking about here, because they are saying this one is a failure program. They are not benefiting at all. It is only the urban centers who are not benefiting. Madam Speaker, that's why I want the Minister to know that the information you are giving, it is only good for urban centers, not rural areas. I thank you.
So, Minister, when are you delivering the materials per child? That's what we want to hear. When are you delivering?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, my sub-county, where I come from, every class got 10 copies, only 10. And the persons given responsibility to send them out to students asked me, how do we give out the 10? Madam Speaker, today there is information circulating on social media warning anybody who is reprinting and selling. Because what people have done, these materials are on demand amongst our people. What these people have done is to reprint them and sell them to the parents on black market. So I think the minister should be candid to say our plan is this. Because once you do not keep saying that it will take time, Honourable Minister, it is very unfortunate that it may take more time and many people will have lost their money. Thank you.
So, Honourable Minister, just give us a deadline. When will you deliver to every child in Uganda? What a date?
Madam Speaker, just also a point of clarification to the Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, in all your communication about education, you have never touched on the real people in education sector. You talk about LCs, we appreciate. You talk about, is it ICT, the radios, but you have never talked about the head teachers, the inspectors, the education officers, and yet we know that there are very many day schools, and more especially the primary schools, which are day, can easily be reached by our children through the head teachers, through the teachers. What is the problem? Is that not a good enough strategy? Why can't you explore more strategies on how to reach our people? Your radio is not working for over 50% of the people. And your TV is not working for our people at all. It is only those in the town. Your phones, the phones and the computer may be accessed by the university students, and not all of them. Sometimes they don't have data. The other time when we were insisting that, well, this is in connectivity with the IT, that you should not tax people who are just trying to learn and promote this IT. You people say no. In other countries, they don't even buy airtime. But here for us, you have to buy the data, you have to buy, you have to pay tax, you have to do this. All those, can I say, roadblocks on the way of our poor people, very, very poor people, accessing the phones. Can you clarify on all those? Thank you.
Minister, give us the date. Give us the date. No, give us the date. We are wasting time on this.
Thank you very much, Madam
Give us the
Speaker.
date.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to clarify over two things. These study materials do not cover anything that is new. It is only meant to enable our students to revise what they covered from the beginning of their education up to the end of first term of 2020. So anybody thinking that it's a new, this is to enable them to revise. This is material for revising. When schools open for the new term, that's when the schools will be able to continue with the syllabus. Otherwise, this is purely for revision, something they had already done. As for the material, secondly, Madam Speaker.
Order. Madam Speaker, this is an effort for revision only. So, since it is for revision only, is the minister in order to think that if it is revision, only maybe a percentage or 50% of our children should access, the rest should be left out? Then why have you introduced the program? Is the minister in order to inform us like that? Because the way you say it is almost like, don't worry, this is just for revision. Is the minister in order for getting those regions where the what is 0.09 something in accessing either phone or radios or even TV? Is the minister in order?
Honourable Minister, you know, you are making our lives very, very difficult. Because on the one hand, you say it is not a serious issue, but you are spending money on it for a part of the country. What will happen to the other part of the country? You tell us, when are you delivering to every child in Uganda? That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear.
Madam Speaker, we are not leaving anybody out. We are going to prepare materials for every learner from all over the corners of Uganda. Every learner is going to be provided for. As to when these materials will reach, the learners, Madam Speaker, I cannot at this moment confidently tell you when, because there is a process. We have ordered for more materials to be printed.
Odria.
Order.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Odria and then Machu.
Madam Speaker, I just returned from West Nile 3 days back. 3 days back I returned from West Nile. From the statistics given here by the minister, only 14% of the people in West Nile have access to radio. Now, if the minister is saying they have been supplying these materials, well, where is the ministry supposed to start? There is no single material delivered in West Nile. I have been there for the last 1 month. Even when I was leaving, I consulted the teachers in Iringa South. They told me they're not aware of any ministry program of distributing materials to the schools. Which LCs are you using exactly in West Nile, especially Iringa South? Is the minister in order to come and lie to this house, telling us that materials are being delivered when actually there is nothing in place, especially in West Nile region? Why do you start distributing materials in the central where people have access? Just a minute. We are aware that you have, you yourself, minister, you have schools and you have taken them, your own schools, as a priority. You have taken your own schools as a priority than other parts of this region. Huh? Information. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's okay. Now, Madam Speaker, is the minister in order to lie to this house that they have delivered materials countrywide when actually there is no material in West Nile and northern Uganda.
Honourable Minister, can you account for what percentage has been delivered in the whole country, please?
Yeah.
Give us an account.
Madam Speaker, we have printed more materials. We shall be printing more, and we are going to cover 100% of all the learners. But as to when it's going to be delivered, I need to consult with the officers who are handling this.
Now, Honourable Minister, it's a serious issue. We want answers tomorrow. You consult and give us an answer tomorrow. When will you deliver all the children? Item 3.2. 3.2.
Item 3.2, statement by Minister on the influx of nomadic herdsmen into Gulu, Amuru, Nuaya districts in breach of previous presidential directives.
Is the PM here? Not here?
Item 3.3.
3.3.
Item 3.3, statements on dubious actions and unscrupulous surveyors under the facilitation and protection of personnel from Uganda People's Defence Forces.
Minister of Defence?
Stones.
Not here. 3.4.
3.4, statement on failure to attain minimum 50% pass mark of Certificate of Gender and Equity Compliance for policy statements and budget estimates.
Is the Minister of Health here?
2021.
Minister of Health? No? Next.
Item 3.5, directive by Minister of Local Government halting local government council meetings due to threat of COVID-19.
Minister of Local Government? No? Next.
Item 3.6.
Honourable Finance, yes?
Madam Speaker, the ministers are not here because we are also having a special cabinet today. We had hoped that it would end before, but it hasn't ended. So some of the ministers who are supposed to be here, that's the reason why they are not here. But tomorrow they will be here too.
Okay, the matters will be reflected again in tomorrow's order paper.
Yeah.
3.6.
3.6.
On microfinance, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I'm ready for the next one.
On 3.6.
The one of KCCA.
Oh, you're not ready for the one of the platinum microfinance?
Yeah, because we wanted to get real information from the region, but we are still compiling it.
But that is a really urgent issue because this is the third incident. First there was boycott.
Yes.
On the teachers' salaries again. Now this is platinum again on the teachers' salaries. So it's really, really important that it is addressed. So it will be reflected again on tomorrow's order paper. On the next one, KCCA. Honourable Minister.
On KCCA, Madam Speaker, we received a court instruction from court to pay 4.08 billion for the workers of KCCA who are entrenched. We have put this money in the budget for next financial year. We are here to confirm that in July, when the financial starts, these staff will be able to receive their benefits. I thank you.
Yes, Honourable Sebaga, supplementary.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, there are over 1,000 ex-workers of KCC. And Madam Speaker, I don't know where the Minister is getting those figures. because according to the ruling of Justice Lydia Mugambe, it was approximately 91 billion that was supposed to be paid to all former KCC workers. Madam Speaker, and this has taken almost 4 years ever since the ruling was made. Madam Speaker, given the fact that the ruling was made that they all be paid their terminal benefits, some have died, others are living miserable life, and the minister is talking about 4.1 billion. Yet the numbers that are supposed to be compensated, that are supposed to receive their terminal benefits, are more. Madam Speaker, I believe the minister has to get more information, and also the judgments that were made by the High Court, so that he can come up with a clear figure, because the figure is getting has never appeared anywhere, even in the presidential directive confirming what was ruled by Justice Mugambe. There was nothing mentioning about 4.1 billion. It was 91 billion shillings that's supposed to be paid by KCC former workers, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Minister, where is the variance in the figures?
Well, I'll benefit from the information from the Honourable Sebagala now that he has probably more accurate information. But the court award, which was given to the 449 staff who were retrenched in 1992, if that's the case we are referring to, is 4 billion. That's the figure we have at the ministry. But if you have any other figure, after this House, we can compare notes and then we harmonize. But the 4 billion has been budgeted for in the next financial year, and will be paid in July when this money is available for them.
Thank you. Item 3.8, is there an update on the COVID? An update? Yes, Honourable Osman.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, on the issue of update on COVID, I have been on the floor before requesting Right Honourable Speaker that the Minister for Justice and Attorney General lays before this Honourable Parliament copies of statutory instruments to guide and also to publicize them. Right Honourable Speaker, we have a problem that the President has been making directives, and these directives are being enforced as law, but yet in the actual sense, they don't appear anywhere in the statutory instruments. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to request that you direct the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs to table before this House copies of statutory instruments that reflect presidential directives. Number two, Right Honourable Speaker, the most recent statutory instrument, particularly Rule 8, is to the effect that every Ugandan who is appearing in public must wear a facial mask. And it is an offense to appear in public without a facial mask. Unfortunately, Right Honourable Speaker, this information is not anywhere. It only appears in the Gazette. Even in the House, Right Honourable Speaker, as we appear here, there are people without facial masks, and it's an offense that has been created. But part of the problem, Right Honourable Speaker, is because the Ministry for Justice is sitting on this information. No effort is being made to make this information public and to even formally table it before this House. So, Right Honourable Speaker, my prayer is that as we receive a briefing on COVID, that issue needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Honourable members, I've been asking almost every week that after the presidential pronouncements, who actually follows up to educate the public? But apparently there's no one. On masks?
COVID. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether you are privy about, because we have heard through various media that during this COVID season, we have received a lot of money from different international financial organizations. IMF of recent gave us $492 million US. I don't know whether it is a loan, a grant, and I don't know whether you are aware, Madam Speaker, about this money. European Union also gave us $120 billion US. I think the Minister of Finance would have really got some catastrophe coming here to inform us about all this, whether they are donations, whether they are loans, how are we going to pay, and whether they have passed through the normal loan procedures, Madam Speaker.
Minister of Finance. What the weekly report?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise up, seek your guidance on the matter that is before the House on COVID. And as one of the representatives at the Pan-African Parliament, we have a business and we participate in this matter. And I'm seeking your guidance that at a later stage, I be allowed to inform the August House about COVID-19 and its impact on the implementation of Agenda 2063 and how it is reshaping Africa's position.
I think we shall have to put on the order paper formally. If you could submit to my office, then we shall put on the order paper.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Minister, where is the money? The euros and the dollars?
Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, I'm a bit surprised at the question by the senior member, Honorable Sebagara, when actually has been in this House. We presented a loan request of 500 million US from the IMF. The figure that you had that the IMF approved in Washington was actually a loan to Uganda, and we have already presented that request to the Committee of National Economy, headed by Honorable Saida Bumba, whom you know, Honorable Sebagara, very well. So it is surprising that now Honorable Sebagara is asking this. The other question of how much we have got from the EU. This should be very clear, members, that all the resources we get as a nation, whether it is a grant, there is a procedure to report a grant. If it's a loan, there's a procedure how we assess a loan. There is no information that we are hiding from members of parliament or members of the public. So all we are accessing is passing through a proper procedure. The loans that we get from the IMF, the World Bank, will pass through parliament. The grants, if any, will also have a procedure and will be reported to the House, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Let's go to 3. But now, honourable members, there's no statement.
Madam Speaker, the statement was supposed to be. I just wanted to add on what Honourable Sadura was saying. Madam Speaker, in my area, in Ivulopa, 2 days ago, the police officers arrested whoever was moving on the street and he didn't have the masks. The tricky part was, for them, they had their people around there selling masks at 20,000. So you first buy the mask before you continue. They arrested everybody there. Whoever had the 20,000 had to pay. Those who didn't have had to go in the cells. This is why we are saying they are doing this under which law. The second part, Madam Speaker, in our area, the Kamri prison is full. When they arrest people at night, they take them to Busesa. The judges are not coming in court. The magistrates are not there. Nobody is there. So in this line again, people are suffering more and eventually we are going to lose people because people don't, when they arrest somebody at night, the wife may not know and she will not hear from that. So all people that are arrested from Kamuli are taken into Busesa. It's where there is space. There is no more imprisonment around Kamuli and Buyende. So we need a direction in this line and we need to know what is happening, Madam Speaker.
I think the Minister of Justice needs to come and explain to us the situation, because if you are arrested in the jurisdiction of Kamuli, you are now being taken to the district of Bugweri. How will your people know where you are? How will you apply for bail? Nobody knows you in Bugweri. Oh, Minister of Justice, he's not here today. He should come and give us an address on the issue of the operations of the judicial system during the COVID pandemic. Tomorrow, that's an issue of human rights.
The lead of government business and the lead of opposition and we members of parliament, we are veiled copies. But reaching here on a serious day like today, and we have to skip all the pertinent items on the order paper. Yet, like yesterday, the lead of government business was in the House, the chief whip was in the House. How come that all the items on the order paper are being skipped because the responsible ministers are not present? Is it a way to undermine the sittings of this House? Are we here sitting in vain? Right, Honourable Speaker, I thought you would now direct that as long as there is a parliament and there are issues of public importance, very extreme public importance, it's only fair for the executive ministers to come and tell Ugandans. If you don't tell we, the representatives of the people, where do you want these very critical items to be addressed? It is getting out of hand, and you are putting the Speaker in a very difficult position, chairing the House. We are not here to talk to ourselves. Yes, Speaker.
Madam Speaker, the information I want to give the honourable member is the President himself stated at one time that because of social distancing, he has decided to reduce the number of ministers that he meets. I would imagine now, instead of maybe the 80 attending a cabinet meeting, like we are also here, maybe 40. So if there is a senior minister in the meeting, the junior minister must be there. So the issue of saying that all the ministers who should have been here are attending a cabinet meeting is not correct. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister, I think I'm aware that only one side of the cabinet actually sits. Only the senior ministers sit. All the junior ministers are elsewhere. So you have no excuse for not being represented. Can you undertake to ensure that tomorrow the ministries are all here?
So, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Leader of Government Business in the House, I undertake that every minister who appears on the order paper, to begin with, will be here tomorrow so that we handle the order paper, and want to really apologize that we are not here as we should, and there's no way that we are planning to frustrate the work of Parliament. So give us tomorrow, we should be able to handle these matters on the order paper.
Tomorrow and the subsequent sittings, please.
And subsequent sittings.
Madam Speaker, Honourable Minister cannot say, I think, since these ministers report to us, since they are not in the cabinet, they should come with a written explanation where they are. Not a matter of saying, yes, Madam Speaker, people are taking you for granted. Taking us for granted. So I request, Madam Speaker, that the ministers come and they will explain where they were today.
Okay.
Because cabinet, only a third. Even the president was clear, he said, I stopped my people. So not a matter of saying coming, but they should explain where they were. In writing, Madam Speaker. We should take this house very seriously.
Tomorrow, the ministers who are absent must come and explain.
Madam
Speaker,
members,
we need to move.
Madam Speaker, we have to put Honorable Bahati to task because he is here representing the leader of government business. If tomorrow other ministers with the items on the order paper are not there, then we will sacrifice you. And we will make sure that we put you on the cross because you say tomorrow they will come. In case they don't come tomorrow, we will be ready to sacrifice you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honourable members, in relation to the masks, the Minister of Health donated some masks to Parliament, 500 pieces. I know that. Clerk, you'll have to tell us where the 500 masks are. They donated about a month ago. 500 pieces. So let us know where they are so that we can...
Madam Speaker.
The members. Honourable members.
Madam Speaker, something very small.
No, honourable members, let's have some order. Please, let's have some order. Everybody, you know, I'm looking here, someone is jumping there, that jumping there. Huh?
Madam Speaker.
Item 4.
Item number 4, designation of members to sectoral and standing committees.
Where is Honorable Aja? Not there. Item 5. I don't see where
number 5, motion for adoption of the interim report of the Parliamentary Subcommittee on Health on COVID-19.
Honorable Chair of the Health Committee. Not here. Dr. Abukenya.
They are going to pick it.
Okay, item 5. Item 6.
Item number 6, laying of papers.
Minister of
Semi-annual
Finance.
report.
Madam Speaker, we request that this paper is laid tomorrow. We are coordinating with the clerk to Parliament. It was not, didn't come with them.
Okay, 6.2. Honorable Kawoya.
Item number 6.2.
No, I see the Honorable Yomunsi, I see the Honorable Beatrice Anyoa, education is there, Honorable Youth is there, the Honorable Minister of Lands, Honorable Minister of State Public Service. No, there are 2 ministers here.
Thank you so much, Madam Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I beg to lay on the table a report titled The Joint Workshop in Preparation of the Launch of the Theme of the Year 2020 on Silencing the Gun, Creating Conducive Conditions for Africa's Development. And this workshop took place on the 28th, 29th of November 2019. Madam Speaker, this was a high-level workshop organized by AU representatives and stakeholders and all the organs that form the AU Committee on Peace and Security in the continent. Madam Speaker, the report is a bit extensive, and as I'm supposed to just lay it on the table, I would pray that at an opportunity time, I'm allowed to represent it fully and the members participate in debating it. But briefly, the aim was that the AU's campaign on silencing the guns in Africa by 2020 aims at achieving a conflict-free Africa, prevent genocide, make peace a reality in the continent, stop conflicts, war, human rights violations and abuse, and human rights and gender equity. Madam Speaker, as I end, There are many topics that were covered: silencing the gun strategy and action plan, role of parliamentarians and the lawmakers in silencing the guns at the national level, women, peace, security and development, youth, peace, security and development, illicit financial flows, and in conclusion, as I read this report, Madam Speaker, I want to reiterate that the role of parliamentarians in the continent to ensure that they take a pivotal role in ensuring that the year 2020 Africa achieves it as a year of silencing the gun, of a conflict-free Africa, peace and stability on the continent. Madam Speaker, I once again reiterate my prayer that being that it is a very, very crucial report, you will allow me to bring it back and it is debated by the whole House. I so pray and I want to lay on the table, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Anifa Kawoya. It's now a document of the House. I encourage the members to read it. We shall find time on the order paper to enable us discuss it. 6-3.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, I beg that I lay on the table a report that is titled The 7th United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development Goals. It was held in New York on the 9th to 19th July 2020, and this is a very, very high-level political forum of the United Nations. Central platform for follow-up and review of the 2030 AU Agenda for Sustainable Development and Sustainable Goals. Madam Speaker, this high level was political forum to ensure that member states that do attribute to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, that these goals are achieved on the African continent. Briefly, the following goals were reviewed. Goal number 4, honorable members, and I want to applaud you to get acquainted with what is happening on the African continent. This ensures inclusive and equitable quality education, what we have just been talking about, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal number 8, promote sustainable, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Goal number 10 was also highlighted as more important, reduce inequality within and among countries. Goal number 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts on the continent. Goal number 16, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and building effective, accountable, and inclusiveness of institutions at all levels. The importance of this is that no one should be left behind. Last goal is 17, strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, this UN high-level looks at the goals from ambition to results for SDGs 16+1. Many issues were looked at, demonstrated, and progress report results were made. Mobilize actions and accessibility for implementation from the UN up to the continental was looked at, with each sector given a responsibility. The high level looked at consolidation of links to all the 17 SDGs. Meetings were also an emphasis, observations were made, and lastly, as I said, there were recommendations. Madam Speaker, as I beg to lay on the table, again, it is my wish that knowing that Sustainable Development Goals 2030 accelerates the Sustainable Development Agenda of 2030, 2063 AU Charter. And this is the charter that accelerates the African economic growth, peace and stability in the continent. Madam Speaker, I again once request that when an opportune time is allowed, the House debates this report in its entirety because it has many issues that touch on us as Uganda and as Africa as a continent and UN as our partners. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table, and I thank you so much.
Honorable Kawoya, again, the report is now our property. I encourage the members to read it. At an appropriate time, we shall find opportunity to debate it. Thank you. I now go back to item 4, the Honorable Yanga, to do some designation. Please zoom in on Honorable Yanga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on your behalf, I beg to designate Honorable Aida Nantaba on the Committee of Climate Change, that's the Standing Committee, and also designate her on the Committee of Gender as the Sector Committee. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to designate. More so, Right Honorable Speaker, on your behalf, I beg to designate Honorable Birawa Mukitale to the Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs as the Sector Committee. I also beg to designate, Right Honorable Speaker, on your behalf, the Standing Committee, Honorable Andrew Chiza Karuya, to the Committee of Climate Change, and is coming from the Committee of HIV and AIDS. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to designate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yanga. Honorable members, you've heard the proposals. I put the question that those members be designated as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. However, honorable members, some time back I proposed that where someone is a chair or vice chair, ideally they should, they may find difficulties attending the other meetings, but we haven't yet sorted out in the rules. But I know that they have difficulties sometimes. But for now, let us agree the designation. Next.
Laying of papers, item number 6, semi-annual report of the Petroleum Fund.
Yes, Honorable Natawa.
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to put my case forward. Right Honorable, I had approached you yesterday and requested that I applied to be designated on the Committee of Natural Resources. That's where I prefer, for reasons being, Right Honorable, we are losing forest cover in this country, and Kayunga is one of those areas that are losing forests to grabbers of land and to many other factors. So I pray that you allow me to be designated on the Committee of Natural Resources for me to be able to fight and protect the environment. I so beg to ask, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Member, I know you came to me and I did check. Unfortunately, the Committee of Natural Resources is really oversubscribed. It's one of those with so many members that's difficult to, unless you negotiate with the colleague to go to another committee. But for now, Natural Resources is really packed. But you can still do the work on climate change through the Committee on Climate Change. It's oversubscribed. Honorable Minister of Finance, 6-1.
Madam Speaker, just 1 minute for permission. Just a correction. The leader of opposition made a statement to this House that if the ministers do not report tomorrow, I will be sacrificed. That's a big statement. My heart is not settled. I just wanted to say that I'm going to deliver this message of ministers to the Prime Minister, and the Office of the Prime Minister will ensure that the ministers come. So I beg that tomorrow I'm not sacrificed. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the same annual report of the Petroleum Fund for the financial year 2019-20, detailing the inflows, outflows, and assets of the fund, for the period ended 31st December 2019.
Thank you very much. The report is sent to the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Honorable Chair, I know you have a lot of bills, but I'm proposing that maybe early in the 5th session, you could handle this report so that we get an insight into what is happening. Thank you. Next, we go to item, I think, 7. Is the Minister of Trade here?
Item number 7, statement on escalating prices of food and other essential commodities during coronavirus scourge.
Minister of Trade? No, item 8.
Item number 8, the National Local Content Bill 2019.
Honorable the mover.
Bill second reading.
Honorable Samba.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. I beg to move in accordance with Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament that the bill entitled the National Local Content Bill 2019 be read the second time.
Is it seconded? Is the motion seconded? Seconded by several members. Justification?
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, in 2017, I and my colleagues, Honourable Muyanja Mbabali and Honourable Edmund Ariko, came before you with a motion seeking leave of Parliament to draft a bill entitled the National Local Content Bill. You unanimously granted the leave. Thank you so much. We made consultations within and outside Uganda, and in January 2019, we presented the bill for first reading. The bill was sent to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and eventually, Madam Speaker, you sent it to the Committee of Finance. Madam Speaker and honourable members, the Committee of Finance made consultations the whole of last year and have made recommendations that the bill be passed into law. Honourable members and colleagues, the National Local Content Bill is an affirmative action law intended to promote the inclusiveness and participation of our people who have either two been edged to the periphery by stiff competition from the globalized world order. The law is intended to promote the use of products, goods and services made in Uganda. The law is intended to promote the transfer of skills and technology to Ugandans and to limit the importation of materials, goods and services which are readily available in Uganda. Madam Speaker and honourable members, the bill is intended to limit the hire of non-nationals, foreigners in jobs and contracts whose skills and expertise are readily available and exist in Uganda. The bill is intended to provide for reservation and preference schemes for goods and services for the benefit of citizens and Ugandan companies. Madam Speaker, the bill is intended to provide for mandatory subcontracting and joint ventures to increase opportunity for inclusion of Ugandan-based entities. The bill is also intended to ensure that all procurement entities in Uganda implement local content obligations and that local content is evaluated at the beginning of the procurement process, not at the tail end. The bill is also intended to ensure that the targeted beneficiaries of this law do not abuse it and are not used as fronts for the foreigners and non-nationals. Madam Speaker, the bill is intended to ensure that that entities that promote the law are also given incentives by government. It is important to note, Madam Speaker, that the bill intends to impose these local content obligations on mainly entities using public funds, either directly or indirectly. In the bill, Madam Speaker, the affirmative action provisions are intended to benefit Ugandan citizens, one, Ugandan companies wholly owned and controlled by Ugandans. It's also designed to benefit Ugandan entities, those partly owned by Ugandan companies. And lastly, resident companies, the companies which are registered and operating in Uganda but owned by non-nationals. The law could not be implemented, Madam Speaker, there are people who are wondering why is it not under the PPDA Act. Madam Speaker, under PPDA, the rules that govern the game under the PPDA are about competition. But this is an affirmative action law, and it couldn't fit well within the PPDA. That's why they've been grappling with it since 2003, when Article 50 was provided to cater for preference schemes, and they had totally failed. I want to thank the chairperson of the Committee of Finance for the review of the draft report and the recommendations they've done, and thank everyone who has made contribution. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Oshabe. Can I invite the chair, our chair, to give a report?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development considered the bill entitled the National Content Bill 2019 and made the following observations. One, the bill seeks to establish a department within the Ministry of Finance, which shall be responsible for the implementation of the provisions of the bill. The bill applies several activities not limited to procurement. It applies to local content entities that are in possession of an investment license, or being an entity or individual being a beneficiary of a tax remission or any such similar incentives. Applies to public-private partnership agreements, applies to those activities which are financed through public borrowing or any such similar agreement. Implementation of the bill will therefore best be handled by the Ministry, since it can easily coordinate with other implementing agencies. Two, in several clauses of the bill, the terms Ugandan company, Ugandan entity, and resident entities are used interchangeably. This may confuse readers and implementers of the bill, leading to inefficiencies in implementation if they are not well aligned. There is need to align these terminologies to avoid ambiguities in the law, which may lead to misrepresentation of the Act. Three, the bill proposes that goods shall be taken to be manufactured in Uganda where the production, manufacture, processing, assembling, or making of such a good is carried out wholly or partially in Uganda. The word manufactured is consistently used in the bill, but seems to be limiting the non-manufactured goods like agriculture and tourism products, the word manufactured might exclude the critical non-manufactured goods. 4, the bill seeks to provide for the application of the rules of origin for East African community in determining where goods are manufactured. However, local content laws for other EAC member states do not consider or use the rules of origin for EAC, but their own rules. In this clause, if this clause is maintained, it will open the Uganda market to other EAC companies without giving the local companies priority. The clause should be used on reciprocal basis, an opportunity given to EAC countries where the goods or services are not available in Uganda. The bill provides for negotiation of prices where the manufacturer or the service provider is a Ugandan citizen. However, negotiation of prices is not allowed under the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act. This may also disadvantage other bidders and affect the principle of competitiveness and transparency during the procurement process. There is a need to harmonize the bill and the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act 2003 as then it was. Madam Speaker, why I mention this act has since been amended by this House. Observation number 6, whereas the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act 2003, as then it was, contained provisions relating to local content. The provisions are limited only to the creation of preference and reservation schemes. Furthermore, local content in the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act is not only applicable to public procurement, but is only considered at the tail end of the procurement process, after all other evaluation criteria have been considered. This means that the persons it is intended to target at the time local content is considered, most of them have been eliminated or are no longer competitive by the application of other evaluation criteria. 7, PPDA issued guidelines for reservation schemes to promote local content. Madam Speaker, guidelines do not have a force of law as acts of parliament do, and are therefore not binding as acts. Guidelines are limited in scope as preference is given procurement of army uniforms, electrical cables and conductors, medicines and medical supplies, and not all goods and services manufactured or available in Uganda. Number 8, the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy, which seeks to increase consumption and utilization of local products and increasing participation of the locally established firms in domestic trade, has not been fully operationalized due to lack of an enabling law, non-existence of implementation modalities and lack of sanctions for non-compliance. With these observations, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that the National Local Content Bill 2019 be passed into law subject to proposed amendments. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and the members of the Committee on Finance for a job well done. Now, members, the report has been signed by the necessary minimum number of members. You are free to debate.
Right Honourable Speaker.
No, Mutonyi? Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on table a copy of the original report, minutes of the committee in consideration of the report, and other materials we scrutinized in the process of considering the bill. I beg to lay, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Mutonyi? Mutonyi Mukitale? You know, these things I can't see. Mawanda. You know, these things are really problematic. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to applaud the colleagues who have come up with this bill, which at this time is really timely. It could not have come at a better time than this season of COVID, where we have really needed the local content. Right Honourable Speaker and members, you have realized during this COVID season that most of the things that have come from outside, the prices have shot up. Whatever that we used to buy at a low price has come up, be it rice, be it, look at the sanitizers. We never knew that we would need sanitizers. And when the COVID had just come in, there's a liter of sanitizers was, I think, around 30,000. And by the time we realized it had gone up to 100 something, it is not until some factories here used our local content, which is Waraji and other things, that the price of sanitizers started coming down. Madam Speaker, this bill is going to help us as Ugandans. One of the areas is employing our own people. Most of the companies that come from outside come with their CEOs, they come with their senior staff, they call it senior staff, they come with, but if we start our own here, our Ugandan graduates, our Ugandan children are likely to get jobs as senior personnel instead of being regarded as underdogs in some of these industries. So, Madam Speaker, I welcome the idea and I thank the members that they have come up with this. Let's all look around. What are the materials that can be used in producing what we need in Uganda here? Can we also sensitize our people? Look at, we have engineers who have no jobs. We have teachers who don't have jobs. Can the teachers start their own enterprises? Can the engineers start their own enterprises using our local materials? I remember when the president had just come to Uganda, he attended one of the graduations in Makerere, and the Vice Chancellor, in his report, requested the president to give them money so that they can expand the university. But the president asked what the engineers were doing there. even making a shade for graduation, they had to go and hire people from outside. Then he said, but you have a local content here, you have your engineers. Can't they put up structures like this? So eventually, the university started using its graduates who did not know at that time that they could be useful, even the university. Come to repairs, they wanted money for repairs, and the president said, you have engineers here, what do they do? The following year, I was in Makerere then, we saw our engineer students putting on gumboots, raising the shades, trying to repair the windows which had been shattered. So I feel, Madam Speaker, that this bill is timely and it could not have come at a better time than this one, when we have experienced prices going up and our people being treated as underdogs. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mukitale. 3 minutes. Then Mawanda, 3 minutes. Then I come this side.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the movers of this bill, the private members' bill, and more so, your own innovation to have enabled this come through after 3 years. We expected this to be the premier business of this parliament, but it was not easy. I also want to thank the committee for agreeing, but can I make a request that for this bill to be implemented in the spirit we intended to have, we also want an interministerial, not only Minister of Finance, because finance in many times has been an ally to those multinationals who have handed this economy in foreign hands. And this, the spirit of this bill is also to bring the economy back to our hands. Because we are aware you can't do Mukost iron and steel, where we have been importing steel, where we could have done it at home. We have had NDP1 and NDP2 spending a lot of money in roads, in dams, without a single local company participating. So, yet if we had this low content law, like our partners like Kenya, Standard Gauge Rail, they achieved 50% of local content. At that time when they moved the motion, I even posted to our parliamentary email the Kenyan law. And I think we need to look at it as well. Now that Parliament, 9th Parliament passed 48% as a target for oil and gas, and you know we are going there, can we really make sure that all these ministries, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ministry of Agriculture for agro-processing, Ministry of Minerals for beneficiation and value addition, Ministry of in charge of oil and gas, they should all come in working with finance to make sure that as we do the NDP3, we can get the intended target. Indeed, the COVID may help us review some policies we thought we would not review. Policies are not cast in concrete. Policies are meant to take you up to some level. Indeed, it is time that the NRM dream of 1986, 10-point program number 5, building an independent, integrated, self-sustained economy, is now being reviewed at the time of COVID, and I think the low content law is speaking to that. In terms of defining what is a local company, what is domicile, it is very critical. We don't want people who just come and register as Ugandan companies just to get business and continue expropriating the profits. It is very important that when you have a company, whether it's a loan, whether it's a direct foreign investment here, there must be apprenticeship, there must be placement, there must be our citizens who are able to acquire technology through that placement. And that is very critical. But this also comes with the right tax policy. For the last 2 years, Parliament has not been able to discuss the State of Nation address by the President. I only had one yesterday. I hope in the next 2 weeks, when we have the State of Nation address, it will speak to these very important issues. The role of the state in enabling that the economy can be in their hands. COVID has found us, has embraced us when we have foreign banks, our own being killed, when we have foreign insurance companies, foreign construction companies. I think the best timing for this low content law is now. BUBU has not been able to work basically because the tax policy, the industrial policy has been lacking. We have been basically doing taxation for purposes of raising taxes from import duty. Now that we don't expect import duty under these COVID circumstances, it is high time we do a tax policy which enables our local industries, which enables import substitution for real, which even ring fences some component of government finance. We need to give orders to local companies, even if it means for 7 years. If companies know that they have government orders, ring-fenced money from finance for the next 7 years, then even the bankers will give them support. So it's a very difficult time. We need inward-looking policies, and one of the requirements of inward-looking policies is a low-content law, is a tax policy, and industrial policy. Madam Speaker, I'll be very happy, before we pass this law, the interministerial committee should come and inform Parliament so that we do it with full support. I want to thank you again, Madam Speaker, for having allowed us to navigate through this. And my earlier request was, why didn't the government take over this bill so that we put in all the expertise we require to have it work? I thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Mawanda. 3 minutes. Then Otieno, Honourable Sechkubo, Honourable Dulu.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the committee and the mover of the motion for a good bill that has been brought on this floor of Parliament. Honourable Speaker, I am glad this bill has seen the light of the day. This is something we started working on in the 9th Parliament during the period of parliamentary forum on oil and gas. We passed other bills, but we had wanted to come up with a standalone bill in respect to local content. So I thank the mover, I thank the committee for their submission. However, I have 2-3 things I would like us to note, Madam Speaker. Issue number one is, we are talking about local content. How local is this local content? Madam Speaker, some multinational companies with big muscle in terms of finances, when they see there's an opportunity of business somewhere, they come in 3 forms. Form number one, as we come to describe what a Ugandan company is, they come, form one, they come, open a company, a local company, and wait for the opportunity. Form number two, they come, open as a local company, have a representative, wait for the opportunity. The third one, they come, open a company, acquire assets, and do business. So that when an opportunity comes and you are looking for a Ugandan company, because of the financial muscle, it becomes very difficult for you to compete with such companies. So as we process this bill, we need to be mindful of what a Ugandan company is, not falling into the trap of having a Ugandan company but wholly owned by foreigners. Madam Speaker, again, on this local content, it will go a long way in empowering our youth in terms of skills transfer and also creating employment. It is very unfortunate, members, when, as the chairman was reading his report, when they don't consider...
It was 3 minutes. 3 years it is. Honourable Otieno? Honourable Otieno?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, allow me to thank Honourable Shabe and his team for coming up with this bill. And in the same vein, thank the committee for a job well done. Right, Mr. Speaker, as we salute the team for coming up with this good and wonderful idea of helping our indigenous Ugandans, I want just to point out a few areas that I think may still be exploited to deny our people the very intended benefits of this bill, right, Mr. Speaker. Right, Mr. Speaker, in the bill we still have provisions which allows these foreign companies to exploit the area of the quality area. In a situation where we find ourselves being unable to meet certain quality specifications of some of these companies that come from outside, Madam Speaker, I have a feeling that this is an area that we need to address, and we feel this will, because we have seen situations here, companies come and then they start specifying certain standards which are very difficult for our local farms to meet, just because they want to make it difficult for our farms to qualify to supply. It's not a 3 minutes, Madam Speaker. Just a minute.
No, we are giving 3 minutes to every member.
I thought
3 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just beginning, Madam. Just a minute, Madam Speaker. Okay. Just a minute. Madam Speaker, also, I have another area which is there is no clear strategy on how our companies can break into industries that are highly dominated by the foreign firms. Madam Speaker, what comes to my mind is the banking sector. In Uganda here today, Madam Speaker, we have seen a banking industry which is dominated by basically foreign-owned banks. We have got, for instance, Stanbic Bank, the Standard Chartered Bank, all what you see government, whenever it wants to borrow money, whenever it wants to do transaction, it only does with these foreign-owned banks. Madam Speaker, we shall need a strategy that will enable our companies, our local companies, to break into these industries that are highly dominated by the foreign firms. Then finally, Madam Speaker.
No, thank you. You've taken the minute. Let's have Honorable Sechikubo, then Honorable Dulu.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the mover, Honourable Nsamba Oshabe, and the committee for processing this bill. Right Honourable Speaker, I think this is the best service this Parliament is doing to the country. Short of these local content, honourable members, we risk as a country to have a country whose economy is owned by foreigners. You move around the world, Right Honourable Speaker, there are areas where a foreigner cannot be allowed to participate. But in Uganda, we have a laissez-faire. All come, they come in, they do whatever activity can be done here, including hawkers. You have hawkers of foreign nationals around the city. Even in low areas like hawking mandazis, hawking pancakes and chapatis, you can only do it in Uganda. Honourable Speaker and members, outside, you can't find this. So we have our doors open to all forms of investors, some who turn up to be bogus investors. But this bill is so timely, particularly in the extractive industries, the petroleum. We are grateful to Honourable Nsamba Oshabe, but I would like to point out two areas. First, it should be owned and accepted by government. Even if we have good legislation like this, once government doesn't put it in mind to enforce this law, it will remain in the statute books, Madam Speaker and members. It should be a way of life, because this is what is being done elsewhere in the world. Number two, we must do something about repatriation of profits. because at the end of the day, we want these profits to be reinvested and replowed back into the economy. Otherwise, there is hemorrhage. The profits from these companies we have, the MTN, Airtel and other companies, they are taken back to their capitals. Right, Honorable Speaker. I read, and it was in the public domain, that part of the reasons why it was necessary to have this bill was to ensure that you tag it to the licensing regime.
Any other contributions? Okay, Nambeshe, Kenneth, Aliek. Who is that one there? Wanzala.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just like any other colleague who has been happy for this bill, I must thank these colleagues who have brought this bill timely. Madam Speaker, if this bill is passed into law, it will be a gift of the year to this country. Madam Speaker, it is only this country that behaves like an automatic vehicle that does not require a lot of techniques to drive. Madam Speaker, if you go to Juba, for you to be able to register a company, you must have a local content. If you don't have that local content, you will not be able to register. But for us here, it doesn't matter whether you know the foreigner into details or not. Before the sun sets, the company is already registered. You wonder what country it is, young as South Sudan is. They do much better in that area than we do. Yet we have been there before. Madam Speaker, if this is achieved, it will be able to build our local capacity in terms of technology and economy, and we will no longer be beggars, just the way we have been before. It will be security to our people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in this country, the foreigners just play with our economy. They transfer funds at will. You go to Ethiopia, you will only be limited as a foreigner to transfer funds out of Ethiopia to the tune of not more than 5 million. Why can't we behave in the same manner? We are really working very hard, day in, day out. You don't see our economy going beyond our nose. Much as we talk about improvement of our economy, but practically, when you compare it with the economy of yesterday, you will find it either the same or worse than that of yesterday even. Why? It is because the money you see here, the funds you see here, is just transferred. Like the country is behaving as if it is a conduit. It does not accumulate. For us to be able to improve our economy, we must have something that is cumulative and not something apart from funds. It is funds. When I say something, that is it. Minus that, Madam Speaker, even if we work here and we pass working on to our children, we would remain the same. When you go to Ethiopia, we were there a year ago. You do know that all the products that are in Ethiopia are
Nambeshe. Ono Nambeshe, then Honorable Go, Honorable Aliek, Honorable Wanzala. Gutamoy Atkins, close with the rope.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let me also join the colleagues to salute the private member and the committee for this bill. Madam Speaker, this bill is long overdue, and it goes a long way to promote our Ugandan goods and services. Madam Speaker, it also goes a long way to maximize value addition. It is only in Uganda where you get so-called investors. They come here
find our natural resources like sand in Luera, Madam Speaker. That sand, I used to be on the Committee of Natural Resources, and we were rightly informed it is not only mined and it stops here in Uganda, but it is ferried even to China. The so-called investor, instead of adding value on our sand here, gets the natural resource and then takes it away. But this bill comes with serious restrictions that if an investor is interested in any natural resource, then that natural resource must be added value from here, not outside Uganda. Madam Speaker, I also salute the bill, but I'm wondering why they have not come out clearly to list the number of goods and services that could be exclusively supplied by Ugandans. I have not seen, but it's supposed to be there. Madam Speaker, this bill is very good, especially when it comes to issuance of worker permits to foreign nationals. The only snag is about the protocol that has been signed between Uganda, among Uganda and the other state members of the East African community, because that protocol removes that restriction from members of these 5 countries within the East African community. So I don't know how this particular law or bill, once it is passed into law or act, will handle or harmonize this provision within the protocol, which removes that restriction that I see in the bill on issuance of worker permits to foreign nationals. But it comes out to very, very clear on foreigners.
Honorable, can we zoom in on Honorable Nokrach? I think he wanted to speak. Let's have Honorable Bogo, then have Honorable Nokrach. But you can speak from it. Otherwise, you should move and sit near the microphone.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. And thank you, Honourable Samba, for sponsoring this bill. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to first of all thank you for having used our rules of procedure to see that this bill actually comes to the floor of this Parliament. And this leaves us to a question to government, whether they are actually serious to see that this bill is implemented, because part of the bill is such that government must establish a department. There's an area which government must play. And now that government seems reluctant, or was actually reluctant, or completely unwilling to issue a certificate, we hope they will actually do their part. Right Honourable Speaker, that said, we have approved very many loans in this House. Many of these loans are actually intended for infrastructure, like electricity line construction. The information that is available is that from the loans we approve, especially for power construction, about 10% is left in Uganda here. So we get money from outside, we come and set up the infrastructure here, but the money goes outside, and nothing is left other than the line that is constructed. And the communities that are intended to benefit from this are not empowered at all, because they don't gain anything. From the power construction, they only drill the holes and do the small works. Otherwise, everything is imported, including poles, including bolts, including the wire lines, including transformers, and so on and so forth. So I believe this bill will go a long way into ensuring that Ugandans benefit from these monies that we borrow. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, colleagues have talked about other economies like Ethiopia, where particular sectors are actually exclusive for the nationals. Why should Ugandans take a second place in our country? Why? In Ethiopia, you find that retail is exclusive for Ethiopians. You cannot just come from somewhere, a Chinese, and you come and set up a retail shop in Ethiopia, which is common here. Banking is exclusive for Ethiopians. Telecommunication is exclusive for Ethiopians. But here we have everything for everybody, for whoever wants. Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to speak about the point of quality of Ugandan products. Now that this law is coming, it is challenging our communities, our manufacturers, our people, business communities, to ensure that we up the quality of our products. Because it is not just a question of benefiting from a law when at the same time we are compromising on the quality. So Ugandans must actually address this issue. So a colleague who was talking about the quality and saying it will be exploited by other people, I think we must.
Okay, Honorable Aliek. No Krach, and then Aliek. Zoom in on Honorable Krach. Please zoom in on Honorable Krach. Yes, Honorable Krach, you can contribute. Is it working? Okay, let's have Honorable Aliek as wait for Honorable Krach. Honorable Aliek followed by Honorable Wanzala. And if Honorable Krach is connected, we'll go back to him. Then Honorable Anifa, Honorable Tamoy, Atkins, Lop, and Kunihira. Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to say something about this bill. Thank you so much, Honorable Oshabe, for moving this motion on the private members' bill, which is so critical this time that we have so many companies, a lot of money is being spent without involving our local people. What matters when it comes to adopting local content? Honorable members, the outcomes of what we are discussing here will go a long way to save Ugandans from unemployment, because we shall have local employment for most Ugandans. We shall no longer be importing so many employees coming into this country when we have our people who have the skills to be used locally as they implement this very important activity. Then another thing that I would like to mention, honorable members, Madam Speaker, even the local monitoring of the projects that we have shall be done by our people. So we have had local content policy on oil and gas and maybe other policies that would help us, but these were not actually something that had come as acts of parliament. Because you remember, about 2 years ago, the cabinet approved the local content policy on oil and gas only. So this is just a small sector that does not cover all other projects that are coming into this country. So the law, when it comes into force, will promote our local content in the way of creating much employment for Ugandans, and it will also go ahead to enhance procurement of Ugandan companies, because we have seen that most of our companies, most of the companies that are working in Uganda have been solicited from outside the country. They are coming to exploit us. They are not involving our poor people who actually have the skills for doing the work. So this will go a long way to promote our local companies that are existing in Uganda. Then another thing, Madam Speaker, is about all the local goods in all the undertakings where public funds are used. All this will be taken into account. So this bill has come timely. I'm supporting.
Onokwach again. Try him. Then after that we go to Honorable Wanzala. Yes, Honorable Nokrach. Not working again? It's not working? Honorable Nokrach, please speak. You can. It's not working today? There's Honorable Keroriem, although he's dressing. Try Honorable Riem, let us see. Honorable Riem, I'm sorry, your dress code does not allow you to speak today. Sorry. Sorry. Let's go to Honorable Wansara. No answer. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to discuss about the local content bill. Allow me also to add my voice to thank Honorable Nsamba and colleagues for coming up with this important bill. Madam Speaker, as we look at our country, Uganda, our people are becoming landless in many places, Nakasongola and the central region of this country, and most of the people who are taking our land are the foreigners on the coast of Ugandans. When we look at Ugandans becoming landless, I look at this law being timely. I want to appreciate and I want to say that let this law be blessed by this parliament, and of course it addresses such issues so that Ugandans can also own land and settle in their country peacefully. Secondly, Madam Speaker, is about the payment of our workers, of our children who are employed by foreign companies. Madam Speaker, when you go to those companies and you see how our children are employed, they have no appointment letters. That's why they have no basis of negotiating how much money to be paid, how do you live in the company. They can today give you an appointment, they can today employ you, but any opportune time they can chase you because there is no appointment and you can't go to court to sue them. Madam Speaker, I'm seeing this law to come and address such issues. Madam Speaker, I'm also looking at the contractors. Many contractors in this country who are working on our roads and doing some other work in this country are foreigners. And when our local companies happen to apply, of course they can't meet what the measures which the procurement also put there. Madam Speaker, it is like my humble prayer that this law comes on board and also address such issues that our local companies can also compete, can also have jobs, can also construct roads in their own country and also enjoy their country. I want to thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity. I thank you.
Okay, can you try Honorable Nokrach again as we go to Honorable Gutamoy, then Atkins, then Lope, Sevagara? Kunihira, I'll get you Kunihira and then Anifa. Yes, after that we go to committee stage.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'd like also to join my voice in thanking the movers of this important bill, and then the committee and their critical analysis on the bill. Madam Speaker, in the House, my concern is about how prepared government is to benefit from this bill when it comes into law. Madam Speaker, you know, the most important thing about this local content are those who benefit from the final products, which are goods and services which will be produced. In Ethiopia, I was surprised to learn that every year the government has got into agreement with the German government to train the technical expertises who are trained in groups in different sectors, so that when the foreign enterprises are coming here, we have no challenge except that to agree with them in the areas where these people should be employed, so that the benefits first is to address the human resource, which are original. We have been thinking about this, but now it's time that we are we are going to open our doors, even up to the Windows level, to allow these people in. However, they will still manage to manipulate when production begins, because here it seems we are not serious. You go to South Sudan, there you cannot start any business unless the first local content there is their land. You pay $7 billion first, and then you are allowed to operate. But here we give them the money, and you wonder what kind of local content, how rich we have, really, to allow this. I consider them even poor, although they come from their own countries, and then we again support them instead of supporting us. They are coming to buy, unless we accept our new motto that buy Uganda and build Uganda. So when they buy us, we must therefore work together in partnership to develop Uganda. Because unless we know what we are doing, these people are still coming to exploit Uganda. Because with the free economy today, they are planning, and therefore I don't know how much plan we are put in place to address.
Okay, Honorable Atkins. Then the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Savagara, then Honorable Anifa and Kunihira.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I really want to thank my colleagues, Honorable Samba, and those that were working with him, and then the committee for processing this very important bill. Madam Speaker, for any war to be won, you have to focus specifically on 4 fundamental items. Number 1, offensive, defensive, sustainability, and sustainment. Madam Speaker, Uganda takes a place as the only country in the whole world that relegates its citizens to a second or even third place. Madam Speaker, the wealth of any nation in terms of qualitative measurement is determined by the number of PhDs in their country. Madam Speaker, you have a place in this country, having been the first female lawyer. But if I relate that to academics, Madam Speaker, we are a country that retires its professors at the age of 70. And a PhD, if the PhD holder is not associate professor or a professor, is retired at 55. The only country in the whole world. And we know what it means being a PhD holder. Madam Speaker, our professors in this country are retiring. But as a government, we're now focusing on who will take over from the retiring professors. My worry, Madam Speaker, is who will be the next criminal, the next professor in criminal law, or commercial law. We have citizens or young men and young women getting first-class degrees, but they have no jobs. And yet as a government, we don't have a plan that if we can't give them jobs, we should be able to give them money to further their education so that they'll be the next metabolic engineers, the best surveyors in terms of professorship, so that we have a sustainability in our system. And I will encourage my colleagues, the movers or the originators of this motion, to have that sustainability in terms of resources incorporated in the system. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of Opposition, then Honorable Anifa, then Honorable Kunihira will close with Mbabazi. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to also thank the mover of this bill. Thank you so much. It should have come even a little earlier. When we want sustainability, we can never forget the local content. In the 8th Parliament, we complain about prioritizing the foreigners on the locals. I remember during CHOGM, where foreigners were supported very heavily at the expense of the local. I know that this is the law which is coming to address that, that problem. And if we even take it further, you always hear about foreign investors, foreign investors. How about the local investors? Can we not promote our people? And these foreign investors have their time here. Sometime they will choose to go away. And if you don't build yours, can you force them to stay? Look at the exploitation. The Indians, whenever they employ our Ugandans, who go and work for a peanut, you start working at 8, and sometimes you leave your workplace at 6. That is exploitation, and then you get a peanut because we don't have, is it a minimum wage? So this law will come to cure that problem. I remember we moved on oversight role to Karamoja, now taking it down, even decentralizing it. So I kept on asking, how many local people here have you employed to work on this road? Then they would go through it and say, you know, this level of people, they are not here. If they were here, we would have also employed them. Right now, we cannot complain that Ugandans, good engineers are not there. They are there. Actually, Ugandans, very highly qualified, are there now. The only thing is to promote them and to support them. And the law is here now. With the law, we will stand with Ugandans and we will make sure that Ugandans are supported. Sometimes we prefer, you see, when it comes to chairs, tables, then we say the imported goods are better. I think we should try to...
Honorable Sowagara, then Anifa and Kunihira, and Babas.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this is a very important bill. Given the fact that you have, for the last many years, many Ugandans have been left behind in as far as various projects are concerned. Madam Speaker, what we all need is the government to embrace in totality this bill. Because, Madam Speaker, we know that in Uganda we are very good at making laws. And many countries come and compare notes and also go back to their own countries, and then they implement what they have learned from Uganda to the best of their ability. So our challenge is implementation. This is a very good bill, and if we pass it, it's going to become a very good act. But how can it be implemented for the benefit of all Ugandans, Madam Speaker? So that's why I call upon the government to wholeheartedly support this bill. Madam Speaker, we have seen many companies here in Uganda, and many of them are foreign-owned companies. And that's why we have capital flight. But whatever they get, they run away with it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know how we are going to handle the issue of registration of companies with URSBs, Uganda Registration Service Bureau. In many countries, you cannot register a company minus an indigenous person. If you were to register any company, one of the prerequisites, you must have a national before that company is registered, so that the indigenous people have got at least a feel in as far as owning those companies are concerned. Madam Speaker, I believe that if we go to that extent of ensuring that all companies that are supposed to be registered in our country, they must have a local content, they must have someone who is a local in as far as that company is concerned. Finally, Madam Speaker, when the government is talking about buy Uganda, build Uganda,
Honorable Anifa Kunihira, then Babas.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And I want to begin from where Honorable Latif Sebagar has stopped. When we are saying that we are now into Bubu, buy Uganda, build Uganda. Build Uganda by Ugandans. Madam Speaker, this bill has come in timely. Timely at a time that this House and this country needs to reflect on our foreign investment policy. We need to look at it very closely and incorporate into it the spirit of this bill. Madam Speaker, the local content bill is for protectionism, especially for our Ugandans and our manufacturers. Madam Speaker, this is a time we are looking forward post-COVID-19. And this bill has come in to put us in a place where we should consider our manufacturers, the products that are manufactured here. Uganda has experienced and has been one of the countries that has been dumped as a dumping stock for all goods that are not to the consumption of other countries. Madam Speaker, it is my humble request that government looks at this bill and implements it in the spirit that all our good brains, our professionalism, as demonstrated by our scientists during this COVID-19, can come back to this country, and they are taking on the jobs. When you look, Madam Speaker, at the contracts, in most of the sectors, they are contracted out foreigners. At the end of the day, these foreigners subcontract them to the Ugandans. So you find that a foreigner is the one having a contract, at the end of the day subcontracts it to a Ugandan, which is very, very demoralizing, which is unacceptable. These are the jobs that can be done by our Ugandans. We have good brains here in every sector. In sectors of energy, for example, you'll find that rural electrification program has not succeeded because of bringing in subcontractors in form of foreign contractors from abroad. Most of them, they are Chinese. They are incomplete. So you find the government programs have not been achieved. So this bill should be supported by every good intended Ugandan and by our government to ensure that we build Uganda for Ugandans, we build Uganda by
Honorable Kunihira, then Mbabas.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to join my colleagues to thank the movers of this bill. I would also like to thank the committee for processing the bill. Madam Speaker, I pray that government does not find any reason not to implement this bill. Government should in fact start the process of promoting the bill by even giving incentives to our local companies so that they are competitive enough to secure those other services which they don't have at the initial time when they register as companies. Government is also a big spender. Government should be in position to promote or by purchasing both products, services from these local companies so that it is a way of financially empowering them. Government has been also spearheading innovation. Some of these companies may not have the required skills, even finances. Government should put in place provision to ensure that they have capacity. They build capacity through providing them even with high quality machines that will produce the products that we want as a country that fit the requirement for these other big companies in case they are securing subcontracts. I pray that everyone here supports this bill so that we are able to help our own people to secure good jobs for themselves, not that money is always repatriated. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mbabasi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the mover and the committee of this bill. It is a very good idea. We support it. I pray that the threshold can be applied and enforced. Right Honorable Speaker, we had issues on the definition of the local company, whereby it was like it should be registered here for 1 year. It should be registered here for 1 year. And the local company should be with the majority shareholder, that is above 50%. Ugandans are very brilliant. They can do most of this work, but it is about the attitude, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. When you compete with the international companies, they only look at the color. They can look at a white man, a woman, whether you have the better qualifications, but the other attitude will take the white man. So I pray that this should be attained if we develop and instill confidence in all our stakeholders, particularly the policymakers and implementers, that Ugandans can do better. I know Ugandans have been trained, and we have been trained with these so-called foreigners, but they come here with their own agenda to promote their nationals. So, Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, this bill is very important. We support it, but let us follow and instill the confidence in the stakeholders and the government to know that Ugandans, we can do better, even better than the foreigners. I beg to submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honourable members, put the question that the question be put. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Put the question that the local content bill be ready for a second time. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Now, honourable members, we should be going to committee stage, but it's 5:15, and we need to close so that the members and the staff can go home. We shall start tomorrow with the committee stage. I invite you to go and study the report and look at the amendments. If there are members who have amendments, please send notice. We shall not have spontaneous amendments on the floor. Minister, you have something to say? But before the minister comes, I'm sorry I forgot to announce the death of Mrs. Jovelet Kempara, sister to Honorable Kamateka. She died, she'll be buried on Friday, 15th May 2020 in Mitoma. We shall stand up for a minute of silence when we leave. But let's minister first, then we shall stand up and then leave. Minister, you wanted to say something?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I tried to stand up before you concluded onto the bill.
You wanted to contribute?
Yeah, because as government, I've been listening to colleagues raising a number of issues, and I thought I would at least respond to some of them and comfort them. I would like to thank the mover of the bill, with your permission, Madam Speaker. And I just want to comfort colleagues that government, we take the law seriously. However, it should be noted that a number of interventions have already been put in place, Right Honourable Speaker. As a government, we have been promoting Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. That is a big political will, which we should be building all this concern of colleagues on. You are aware, Right Honourable Speaker, that as a government, we have been promoting human resource building up, especially the scientists. With the lockdown, Right Honourable Speaker, even His Excellency the President actually says maybe it is also good in disguise that we Ugandans, we can now showcase, and you're aware, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, that a number of factories and industries have been activated into innovatively responding to the needs of our day right now. This is a challenge to us as a country. We want to encourage innovations. We want to encourage scientists to come and occupy that space. We're in the lockdown, and so much can be done by Ugandans. Therefore, we should not all think we shall lose it out to foreigners. We need to occupy the space, especially right now that we have even a bigger opportunity, and then the government will...
Point of procedure?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And much appreciated, Madam Minister, for picking my point. When I raised that point, I was expecting government to come up with a fact, but not a fiction. I was expecting government to come up with a task list and not a wish list. Madam Speaker, the point of procedure basically is the status. While I applaud the minister in regard to the scientists, I think I want to bring to her attention that government if I can focus on Makerere, contributes only 200 million as research funding. And now 200 million is not even worth it, half a program of a PhD student. So in terms of support, Madam Speaker, we still expect government to do more. And specifically on the point of procedure, I was saying if we're talking about building capacity in terms of scientists, the first point of call will be the first-class students who are now vending papers, newspapers, and making Rolex. And yet we want these. So, Madam Speaker, my procedural issue is the minister proceeding well to communicate a government position, and yet government in terms of innovations, science and technology and engineering is doing the opposite. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now, Honourable Minister, I think we appreciate the policy proposals, but I think what Ugandans would like to hear, how are you going to support the local entrepreneurs? Because, you know, in this country, you're on your own. You borrow your own money by yourself, you negotiate by yourself. There's no startup from the government like they do in other countries. I think the people of Uganda want to hear, what does the government contribute towards our innovations? But we are taking a lot of time. We need to close.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. And honourable colleagues, I was responding to the debate as it's on the floor. And I was saying there's already a goodwill that we need to build on. And indeed, if we recognize that we have not done so well, but we have started, we can still improve on that. And Right Honourable Speaker, I still want to comfort my colleagues that as a country, we can still add on what we have started and make it better. And I was giving an example that with the present situation, the dilemma we have, actually we have found ourselves in a position that we need actually to build more on our capacities as Ugandans so that we help ourselves. And exactly, Right Honourable Speaker, as you had already directed, or you already noted, we need to put more funds in this. Even the colleague who raised on point of procedure. Yes, this is a moment of truth. We needed such human resources more than ever before. We have already opened up many companies and industries to fill in that gap, which will help our Ugandans. And as a government, we shall come back, of course, to have a systematic implementation of all this. It cannot be overnight, Right Honourable Speaker. But there is a will, and I pray that we move together and we make it a reality. Let's buy Uganda, let's build Uganda. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Members. Let us rise up in honour of Jovlet Kempara, the sister of our colleague, the Honourable Jofa Kamateka, the MP for Mitoma. The burial will be in Mitoma on Friday, 15th. Let's stand up for 1 minute of silence.
May her soul rest in eternal peace.
House adjourned tomorrow at 2 p.m.